talking fucking Jasmine.
Unlimited high-speed data all month long.
No way.
Way. All on the T-Mobile network. I'm thinking about switching.
Well, that's smart.
I'm also...
It's only gonna be about one person.
So this week we had a ton of new releases, ranging from a new Goosebumps movie to First Man to my most anticipated movie of this week, Bad Times at the El Royale. So basically, a quick summary of the story. We do have about 7 to 8 strangers who stay at the El Royale, which is a hotel that divides both Nevada and California. And each person in this hotel kind of has their own secret that basically starts to unfold. Now, Bad Times at the El Royale is a movie that I was extremely looking forward to. I thought that first trailer was impressive. I think it's one of the best trailers of this year. And I just don't exactly know why I love that trailer so much. It's probably the way it was edited. And when a trailer is edited really well, it just really hooks me on. And I thought that first trailer was really well edited. And I thought everything looked great about it. That trailer just made this movie one of my most anticipated movies for the rest of the year, because the trailer did come out like halfway through the year. Let me just say, if that plot description that I gave about this movie did not make sense, well, it's because the movie itself doesn't even make a whole lot of sense either. Unfortunately, the Bad Times at the El Royale is not the movie that everyone is raving about. I thought that this movie was just a whole mess when it came to the storytelling and what it wanted to tell. Now, I definitely see the type of story that they wanted to tell with this movie, but the way that they unfolded the story did not work at all. Now, if you haven't seen this movie, basically the way that this movie is unfolded is that this movie is divided into chapters for basically every character in this movie. Every character in this movie. And we have around 7 to 8 characters in this movie, and it tries to give each and every one of those characters a spotlight in the movie. And it just did not work at all. And the reason why it didn't work is because I felt like there's only certain characters that were interesting enough to helm their own chapters. And I mean, probably only 3 characters really deserved their own chapters. But even for that, I wasn't a fan of how they told this story, with each character basically kind of giving their perspective before the events that start to unfold in the movie, and basically their background and all that. I did not like what they did with that, because it just made the movie more complicated. It made the movie not exactly hard to follow up with, but it just made the movie a whole lot more messy than it could ever be. Now, I did discuss about this to my friend Alex, who disliked the movie more than I did. And he also agreed that he had the same exact problem that I had with the movie, which is the way that he described it is that the movie tried to explain way too much. And I really do agree with that, because this movie does try to explain way too much to the story that it already has, that it really does dumb down the story just because of it. Now, this movie is 2 hours and a half long, and it really felt like they were shoving way too much for its long runtime. Now, just a suggestion, if they really wanted to tell the story that they wanted to tell in this movie, like the way that they told it with dividing it to different chapters for each characters, I think a way that it would have worked so much better is if they would have made this into a mini-series. Like, basically the first 25 to 30 minutes of this movie would basically be the pilot to the episode, to give the audience a taste of what they're in for, or the characters that they're about to get introduced to in every episode. And basically, again, what they did for every chapter, let every chapter of each character be an episode, and basically kind of explain the backstory and not have it feel so rushed, or not have the people behind working in this feel so pressured to shove all this into a 2 hour and a half long movie, because again, what they did with this movie, they just shoved in way too much, even for its 2 hour and a half long runtime, which is a very long runtime. They shoved in way too much. And if they would have done this in a miniseries, again, have each character have their own episode, they could have focused on one character and fleshed them out more and not rushed them to fit them in the movie. Again, like they did in this movie. Now, I'm just clarifying, I don't hate this movie. And I did enjoy those first 25 to 30 minutes of the movie. In fact, I was loving the first 25 to 30 minutes of the movie. And again, there are things that I did like about this movie. Again, every performance in this movie, especially Jon Hamm and Chris Hemsworth, who I think both nailed it out of the park in this movie and have the best performances of this movie. I thought the performances were great. I thought the cinematography was gorgeous. But the horrible pacing and the mess of the story, and also the extremely pretentious and quite predictable last 30 minutes of this movie, made me not like this movie all that much. Now, a lot of people are divided on this movie. A lot of people really like this movie, and a lot of people just don't like it that much. And I don't hate this movie. I just don't like it either. Like, I think this is probably the most disappointed I've been at the movies all year this year. But with that being said, personally, I would wait, and if you were to ask me for my recommendation on this movie, I would tell you to just wait and rent it on Redbox and judge it for yourself. But that's just my opinion, and with that being said, I'm gonna give Bad Times at the El Royale a C. So yeah, it really does break my heart giving this type of review to a movie that I was really looking forward to, and trust me, it really did broke me the night I did see this movie, because I really wanted to love this movie. Unfortunately, I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. But anyways, have you guys seen Bad Times at the El Royale? Have you guys seen it? I'm very curious to know what you guys thought about it, because again, a lot of people are divided on this movie. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts and opinions in this movie. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.